Hello, good morning, good evening. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm just gonna invite YouTube. Okay. So today we'll be looking at against all odds, against all odds, against all odds. Now, how many times do we get into a situation that we think, if God doesn't rescue me out of this, I am done? And we pick up the story from Matthew, where Jesus is with his disciples, or rather he was with his disciples, and then he left to go to a quiet place to pray. And when he does that, he leaves the disciples to go ahead of him, and they go ahead in a boat. And then after he's finished praying, he joins them. And he joins them, guess what? Walking on water. And they don't even recognize him because they're not used to the supernatural. They're not used to him appearing, walking on water. And you get this story from just a second. We get this story from Matthew. I'm just confirming for you the verses. That's Matthew 14, 22 to 23. Matthew 14, 22 to 23. So the interesting thing is that while Jesus is so comfortable walking on water, his disciples are not used to it. But he is used to it. He's totally okay with it, right? So when it gets to the point where they finally recognize it's him because they say, "Fear not." He says, "Fear not, it's me." And Peter, who's the bold one, he's like, "Yeah, I want to do that." Those kids or even adults who go like, I want to try that. That looks interesting. How did you do that? And his excitement excites Jesus. He's like, come join me. Come join me in the water. Walk on water. And then it says he sees the waves. He sees the wind. And he got afraid. Jesus wasn't afraid of the wind. He rebuked the wind during a storm, so he wasn't bothered by that. But Peter, in his human nature, saw the wind, read hindrance, opposition, pressure, people, accusation, persecution, and he backed out. He got so fearful, he actually began to sink. Now look at the immediate response or the immediate result of him taking more recognition of the wind than Jesus. Immediately he starts to sink. Why? Because his attention shifted from Jesus to the elements. What elements are you paying attention to? Jesus responds, though, by pulling him up. He says, "Ye of little faith, ye of little faith, why did you doubt?" How is it that you could doubt that you could do this? So guess what? We doubt and lose faith when we lose sight of God, period. We lose sight of God, and the loss of sight of God hinders us from experiencing the miraculous. Jesus is not subject to anything or anybody except what you believe. So if you don't believe in him, you don't believe in what he can do, if you don't have faith in him, we start to sink. We start to sink into the water. So the amazing thing about God is he gives us his nature. As children of God, we have his nature. That means wherever we are, in the workplace, raising a family, whatever we are, chairman, chairlady, whatever we are, leaders in society, we bring Jesus to the table. I remember one time Jesus told me, or God told me, wherever you go, you bring me with you. So ensure that you represent me. Bring me to the table. I want to sit at the table. When Jesus comes and sits at the table, as long as you're there, he's sitting at the table. So are you representing his true nature or your fallen nature? Because he's not afraid of the elements. He's not afraid of the opposition. He's not afraid of what seems to be a barrier. Now, if we want to push forward, which is the series we are on, we're pushing forward into our Canaan, our promised land. There will be opposition. The elements will be against us. Everything will seem to turn upside down. Literally, haphazard and confusion will seem to reign. But if we pay attention to Jesus, guess what? We'll walk on water. We'll defy gravity. The thing that would seem impossible will be possible. And that is the whole point of being a child of God. It is actually all about defying the norm. It's about going beyond the natural into the supernatural. It's about defying structures and man-made solutions. And the seen becomes defiable. And you move into the realm of the unseen, faith. Faith is tangible only when you believe that you can do it. If you don't believe in it, you don't believe that the outcomes are secure. You see, Peter doubted that the outcome of walking on water was secure, regardless of the wind. The fear took over him. So that's where he lost it. So don't lose it. Don't lose sight of Jesus because of the elements that are against you. If they're against you, it's a good thing. It means you're about to get into some serious miraculous encounter. Some jaw-dropping thing is about to happen. That's why there is something fighting you. Because the enemy and people don't fight stuff that doesn't look like a threat. So if it is a threat to people, if it's a threat to anybody or anything, there will be a barrier, there will be hindrances because you're pushing against the norm. The normal thing to do when there is wind is to be afraid. Take cover, run, hide. When people go out, you should go out to the rain, go out to the wind, walk on the water. Jesus is with you, especially if you're taking a risk for him, especially if you're taking a risk for him to be glorified, and especially if he has asked you to come join him. So don't be afraid to join Jesus today. See you tomorrow. Remember, against all odds, you are going to win. If Jesus walked on water, so can you. Bye-bye. See you next time.